mentioned, I mean, like a kind of a human, they do human trafficking with this. Some of the people in the NSA use this equipment to surveil their ex-girlfriends and ex-wives, and they call it the love int, like love intelligence. And this is like, I mean, they can make women feel like love towards them. And it's, I mean, last night they were saying, that somebody, said, mentioned that, and John Hall mentions it a lot. And somebody said, that's the most horrible thing I've ever heard. That's that's the worst thing. And all I could think of is that's rape. That's rape. And my attackers are raping me, so it's not that long of a chasm to jump. But please, get on these conference calls, listen to these people's stories. You might find something out about your own situation. And as somebody did mention, you get on the calls and you hear other people's stories, and then your attackers, since the people who organize these attacks against us, in the group that is surveilling you and shooting directed energy at you, they can hear other tactics and then be like, well, let's try and do that. That does occur, but we're getting to a point where I think it's more positive to get that information for yourself. You can go. I think it's more positive to get that information for yourself, than the bad things they can do to you, with the information here on the phone calls. I did, when I woke up, I did, and I need to tell you guys kind of how I think. I was sitting there and I was like walking the dog, and I was like, it's crazy how, I'm being murdered. Like, my body feels so bad when I wake up. It feels like, my breathing's been stifled in the night with remote neural monitoring affecting my autonomic nervous system. I'm burnt, and it's like, it's wearing me down. Like, if I had to go through this, like through the first 7 years, because I was tortured for a lot longer than I think. But the reveal was in 2010. Now, if I had to go through what I was going through from 2010 to like a year ago, it's a breeze. I could heal from that. Now my body is starting to get tired, so they're not even getting through as much. But my mind is tired. I'm fatigued. My mind is fatigued. My body is fatigued, and it's hurting me more. And that's one of the things I wanted to mention. And well, I want to go through my thought first. I was walking the dog, and it's like the really bad thing is the people up at the top who are planning this to put this out in our society. And they found I won't say my attacker's name, but they found people like that. They knew they were out there. They knew people like me were out there who would sit and wring my hands and try and find the right thing to do and not do violence. They know that there's people out there who will do violence, who will go out and do violence because they're being attacked. They know what families will hear, and kind of they don't know how these situations will go. I don't think they understand what good humans are capable of, but they've got a lock on our perceptions. Before they sent out this directed energy program, before they started building this up, they know a lot about our perceptions, because I'm sitting here being murdered. My parents, like my mom, kind of believes that something's going on, but she doesn't know how bad it is. My dad totally doesn't believe me, and he's been affected by this the most in my family. I think. So it's awful to see how much they know about us and how much they're using it for bad. Whoever's up at the top, our leaders, like in the DOD, maybe above that, people in the UN, leaders of the world who are rolling out these programs and writing papers on them. That's who I'm talking about, them. They really know a lot about us already. And it's like they're getting this program through where, like, I haven't told y'all the whole story, and I might not. I might ask the guy first, but the TI in my city, he wants to go file a report at the police station. He wants to go file his harassment report. People are doing this to him. They've harassed him in other ways before that. He wants to go and do that. And it's the right thing to do, to go into the police station and be like, here's my statement. Electronic harassment's being used on me. V2K is being used on me. Remote neural monitoring. This is how it works. Here's the patents on it. The stuff is out there. People are using it on him. And it ended up being like I talked to him about it. And all I could do, because of my own experiences of going to the police, I called the inspector general, and I got a call from the coroner, the same day, telling me to go in the emergency room. They didn't even tell me that they were putting me in the short-term behavioral center, and in a way I went. And so it ended up where I had to give him advice. On the call, I asked a bunch of other TIs. I was like, should I go in? Should we go do this? Should we just go try it? And they're like, no, do not go to the police. There were 5 TIs on the call who had gone into the police and told them about being harassed and being hurt. I mean, we're being hurt viciously, like very badly. And they got cuffed when they went in and told their stories, because there's a protocol, and that kind of goes into what I'm saying about the people in great authority. I guess the powers that be. I'll just call them the powers that be. How much their perception is of what society will accept, what they can get away with, because we're being hurt really badly. But there's a protocol in psychiatry and in the police station where if you say you're hearing voices in any way, they're doing their jobs, and they're like, okay, well, he's hearing voices, we need to get him to a psychiatrist. The psychiatrist hears that, you're going into a short-term behavioral center. And these things, these directed energy weapons, V2K, exists, and they're using them rampantly all over the world. So they've set up a system that's fighting people, and we have to even, I was thinking at the end, I was like, the best case scenario would be like we get out of there without them putting us in a mental institution. They say, hey, we'll accept the statement, but we can't do anything to help you. That's what I thought the best case scenario was. So in the end, I got other TIs to talk to him too. I'm trying to get him on the conference calls too, so he can hear some other points of views. But we're working through that, and he's working through it. And he's the guy who told me about the sine wave. He's finding out a lot about this. He's a very, very intelligent young man. Reminds me of what I wanted to do at the beginning of all this. But how badly I was hurt for going to authority figures about this. They laughed at me. Not only laughed at me, they hurt my life a lot. And 2 weeks in the short-term behavioral center was $25,000. So it's not like a little slap on the wrist or a little risk. It's a huge risk to go and tell authority figures. But we're getting there, and the advice that I gave him was to, call in the harassment report. He's talked to the police 2 times about it. Periphery wise, and to go ahead and call them, make the harassment report, and send in his statement. I think we should all do that about this harassment, just so we have it on file, but do it with the least risk. It's awful. It really woke me up again, because I had left that behind. I'd left the going to the police. I called them out so many times when I was at the house with my attacker in the house next to me. Now he's not. He's remotely hitting me with a lot of really sophisticated directed energy weapon stuff, and he's got the guy above me kind of helping out with some emitters, with some sounds. He'll scratch on the floor. He'll flush stuff. He's like dumping stuff in his toilet upstairs. So he's definitely involved, but I don't know on what level. I do know that my main attacker is still hitting me remotely. That this guy hasn't taken it over or anything, but he's helping him out a little bit. But it's like, I called the police out on a morning when a guy walked out, not my neighbor, but the guy catty-cornered to the neighbor, because at that point it was like everybody around me and that neighbor was kind of participating in it, finding out they weren't getting caught for harassing me. So I was making one of these videos outside. I hear a crash, like he had thrown something and smashed it. And then he walks out, military style, with a shotgun out on his driveway. I got it on tape. I mean, you can go back and look at my old YouTube videos. I'm not sure what the title of it, but it was a Sunday morning where this guy walked out in his driveway with a shotgun. and I was sitting in my driveway. And so I got it on tape, called the police out, showed them on camera, this guy walking out with a shotgun in his driveway, and they just questioned me, and then they left. I said, go question that guy. He came out with a shotgun. They didn't even go knock on his door. And that wasn't even electronic harassment. That was some guy walking out with a shotgun in a threatening manner, like right catty corner to me, because all these people were kind of involved in it. So it kind of woke me up to, I've left that behind for now. Like, I do not think there's enough awareness out there, I think a lot of police know about it. I think a lot of FBI agents know about it. I think a lot of these agencies know about it. They just don't know what to do to fix it, to help, because it's such a big program. It woke me up to that again. And, I keep telling my buddy, my TI in the city, I'm like, it's really counterintuitive, but the cart has to come before the horse. Like in this, usually the horse comes before the cart in anything in life. But with this program, it's so complicated. The technology's so hidden. The program's being protected for national security because of these directed energy weapons. They want to use them for war, and there's a lot of money behind that. And there's a lot of money being funneled in by private corporations who are making this microwave equipment, contracted by the DoD to make these microwave weapons to be used in war, to be used by the DoD. So there's power and there's money behind it. So going into a police station, at the end, I wouldn't do it, but it really, it really makes me sad. I guess the only thing I could, beyond that, I mean, I can't say it right, but it makes me sad that we can't go into the police station and be like, hey, I'm being murdered, please investigate this, where a group of people like us, we're being attacked so badly. Like, our brains are being cooked. Like, I feel like my brain is being cooked a lot. It's affecting a lot of, it's causing memory issues. It's causing issues, like really bad issues. You talk to a lot of people, they've gotten brain injuries from this and aneurysms and things like that. But I can't go into a police station without having stacks and stacks of evidence and proof. The burden of proof is put on a group of TIs who this is hurting. We're called crazy while it's happening to us, while we're being raped. And rape is the right word. These people do stuff in the night with the microwaves to my private parts. And then that's not even the worst I've heard. Some of these women who are being electronically attacked, these guys are inducing, they're arousing them. Maybe even worse, electronic rape all day long, even while they go to work. And some women have gotten in trouble at their jobs because they can't take it. They start crying at their jobs while it's happening. So this is, like, when I say electronic rape, and we are being raped, that does come into play. This is sick satanic stuff. And a group of people that bad of stuff is happening to, that the burden of proof is on us, is an incredibly corrupt system. We shouldn't have to sit there and speak so intelligently. We're getting hit with directed energy, microwaves to our skulls, our genitals, our chest. It's hard to breathe sometimes. It's hard to just talk to somebody about regular stuff, much less, this thing where it's like, if you don't say everything correctly and cross your T's and dot your I's, you can get thrown into a mental institution. And I don't want to scare anybody. There are a lot of good cops out there, and they want to help. I'm not saying that at all, but in a system where it's like, you don't know what you're going to get when you go to the police station, somebody who's just going to throw you in right away, maybe somebody who doesn't know about it but still going to try and help you, maybe somebody who does know about it and really wants to help you but just can't. It seems like those are the options with that. And I'm not saying there aren't good police officers. I'm really complaining about our system as a whole, that this could happen, that police officers their hands could be tied. Some good police officers and good ex-military, their hands are tied. You have David Boyds, from Illinois, and he's you know, he's ex-naval. He's an ex-naval officer, and he can't go in the Army and file